Today we're going to be planting some germinated seeds. So I'm going to gather some stuff up for that, and I'll see you back here in just a few minutes. Hello. Welcome to Raven Grows. My name is Raven, and I'm going to be the hands that you get to see for the majority of these videos. This right now is the top of one of my nutrient solution tanks, and it's not the best background for this, but it's what I use as a workbench because I'm growing in a very small home and I'm growing on a budget. So that's going to be the theme of these videos, is Raven Grows on a budget. So hopefully you'll come along and you'll enjoy some of the things that I have to offer. I'm going to show you today how to properly plant a germinated seed. What I have here, you can see, is just a piece of Tupperware, and inside I've got a paper towel or two that's been wet down, and I have some seeds sitting on top of that paper towel. And over the past couple of days, you can see here, the seeds have started to crack open and they've put out their first little primary root. Some of them have gotten really going, and he's got a leaf going already. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these seeds. I have these small, recycled of course because I can't buy anything new, but small recycled, about 2-inch by 2-inch square pots. I just put some, this is a germination mix and a little bit of perlite that I mix in to do clones with, actually. But I'm going to try this and see how well it works. So the way that you properly plant a seed is you first germinate a seed. And we have one here, so we'll start with, we'll start with this one. You can see it's got his little taproot started. And then the easiest thing I've found to do is take a pencil eraser. And if you look, the pencil eraser is about twice as wide as the seed. Every seed, as a generalization, wants to be planted 3 times as deep as the seed is wide. So if you look here again, it's twice as wide. So 1 seed depth on the middle, right to that first row of dots. That's what I'm going to push my pencil eraser into the dirt to. So you take your eraser, see right here, and you push it in just till that first row of dots disappears. Just like that. And now you've got a hole to put your seed into. Now you take your seed, bloop, straight into the hole. Now, let's see, you can see here, all the way down the bottom. You don't have to worry about getting them root side down or anything like that. I didn't, wasn't all that careful. But make sure your seed is in the hole, and then just cover them right back up. It's as easy as that. So what I'm going to do is, I've got a whole bunch more seeds here to get through, so I'm going to go ahead and get them planted, and then I'll be right back. Another good thing to have when you're planting seeds is you're going to want a pair of long tweezers like this. Now these ones are extraordinarily long, and you don't need them that long for doing this, but again, so we've taken our pot, we push in our eraser so it's just the right depth, and you see the tweezers make handling the seeds a lot easier. And right inside. And that's it. I'm going to go ahead and get through the rest of these, and I'll see you in a minute. Welcome back. So now we've gotten all of our seeds planted, and didn't even count how many I was doing here. Oh, look at that, about 12. Some of you may have noticed that some of these pots are a lot wetter than others. I just took them out of my cloning tray, and they have been maintaining the humidity in my cloning tray, and so some of them have absorbed quite a bit more water than others. When you do a planting, you want to make sure that your soil starts off moist. These here might actually be just a little bit too dry. I was having problems when you make the hole. The soil tends to fall apart. So when you have one that's dry like this and you try and make your hole for a seed, you want the hole to be able to stay in shape. Now, do you see how it fell back in? That's because this is a little bit too dry to do a planting with. So you want to make sure that you have some moisture in your potting mix before you do a planting. Now, in this case, of course, once you've gotten everything planted, then you have to do what's called watering them in. So I'm going to be adding water to these pots again. So the few that are dry now, they're going to get some water, and they're going to get just as wet as the other one, so it's not going to matter. When you're doing a bigger planting or when you're doing a transplanting, it's very important that you have your soil moist so that it'll maintain its shape and it won't collapse on you when you're trying to get the new plant inside. So let me go ahead and move these into my grow tent, and I'll bring you guys back and I'll show you the watering in. Welcome back. As you can see, I've got all my little plants moved, and sorry about the fan noise. You can see I've got an older style grow light up here, and it still has the fan cooling, and makes for a little bit loud. So I have these kind of set up in a weird pattern here, and that's because there's plants that go between these that I'm growing, but I've moved them out of the frame for now so we can see what I'm doing. So with my plants in, now it's time to water them down. Here's a pro tip. If you don't have a watering can, this is Raven Grows on a budget today. If you don't have a watering can, take a water bottle, put a few small holes in the lid, just like that, and then you can use that for your watering can. It makes for a good watering can because it breaks the water up, and so it doesn't disturb the top layer of soil as you're watering. By giving a few little gentle squeezes, you can get water exactly where you want it, exactly where you need it, without spilling too much. These ones are still pretty moist, or damp for those of you that hate the word moist. Now this one needed quite a bit more. Now that is an interesting fact. You see how the water was staying on the surface there? It wasn't soaking right in like it did in this one. When plants dry out completely and you let them get a lot drier than this, the first thing that you'll notice is that the soil pulls away from the edge of the pot. You see how it's pulled away there? There's just a little bit of a gap right there between the edge of the soil and the pot. That's too dry. The second thing that happens is that your soil becomes hydrophobic. That means afraid of water. And it won't allow water to penetrate. So what will happen when you put water onto the soil, it will roll off the sides, go down between the soil and the pot, and come right out the bottom. And you never watered your plant. You may pour a ton of water on there, and your plant never got any of it. So if you do let your plants dry out a little bit too much, it does happen. We all make mistakes. Make sure that you're aware of that hydrophobic reaction, and be very careful when you do water them after a long break or after they've dried out quite a bit. And again, if you see that where it's just separating from the pot just a little bit, that's your first indication that your soil might be hydrophobic and that you'll have to be a little bit more careful when you water them. One of the things I do like to do in that case is I like to water from beneath. So you'll see that all my little pots here are sitting in a plastic tray. You see there? And that plastic tray holds water. So what I can do, especially if my soil does become hydrophobic in some of my bigger pots, what I can do then is I can pour water into this plastic tray, and because of these channels, I can just pour just barely enough water to cover the top of the channels. The soil will then absorb it and pull the water up, lowering the water level so that it can't touch the bottom of the pots anymore, and so it's sort of self-regulating. They can't pull too much in because I don't have enough water in, and it drops below these channels, and it can't touch the soil anymore. So you can water from beneath. Now you have to be very careful about that. If you do water from beneath, that your plants don't sit in standing water. If they do that and they have roots down near the bottom of the water, those roots will get saturated, and eventually what will happen is they'll start to rot, and you'll get root rot, and that'll be one of the first things that kills a plant. It's very easy to kill a plant with root rot. So anyway, this was the beginning of my videos, just to show how to plant germinated seeds. I'm also going to put up another video that will show you how to germinate the seeds, what I did there, and I'll put in another video, hopefully, about some of the tools that I use and how I do this on a budget, because, guys, I can't spend that much money on this. I don't have the money to spend. So we'll come back with some updates on these little guys once they start to show up above the surface. And yeah, I guess that's kind of it. I'll see you guys in the next one.